Mr. Christopherson,
Okay.
you're starting off the 4-minute round that apparently you're sharing with Madam Latendresse, so
I am. Thank you, Chair, and that saves me from having to say it. You already did. Thank you. I would also like to use my time to advise of a notice of motion. Earlier today, the government attempted a drive-by smear, and in addition, trying to find a political diversion from the train wreck that is these hearings in terms of their shredded Bill C-23. This is a referral from the House. Given the fact that it attacks my party and my leader, we feel it should be dealt with immediately. Not only are we in compliance with all the rules, but we're proud of the outreach work that we're doing, and therefore I move the following motion. That pursuant to the motion adopted by the House of Commons on March 27, 2014, relating to the parliamentary functions being performed in offices of the official opposition, the committee invite the Honourable Leader of the Opposition and also invite the Right Honourable Prime Minister to appear before the committee to address the many partisan activities undertaken by his government, specifically by the Prime Minister's Office, PMO, and the Conservative Research Group, CRG, and that furthermore the current study on C-23 be extended by the same number of days as those scheduled for the study on the referred motion. And with that, I turn the floor over to my colleague, Madame Latendresse. Thank you, Chair.
If I can be on the order.
And I'm not going to the motion today. He's given us the notice of motion. Madam Latendresse, 2 minutes left. Well, a minute and a half, or 2.5, or some combination thereof.
Merci. Thank you. Thank you very much for your appearance here today and for your thought on what can be done to improve the election system. My question is to all four of you. I would like you to tell us, in your opinion, what effect what will be the consequence of abolishing the vouching system and the abolishment of the voter identification cards? What will that do? What will that do to diminish for electoral participation? Well, one of the things is that we really don't know what the impact of these decisions will be, and in actual fact, we feel that it could be very dangerous to do things that might limit the base and the pool, rather, of voters. And the combination of these two factors could represent a restriction on any voter, and that would be a loss for our democracy. We really want to embrace the cautionary principle that we should be facilitating people to exercise their suffrage. Yes, I agree entirely with Madame Des Rosiers. My first concern is this: we don't know what the impact will be. We don't know who will be affected more than, say, the other person. Will there be regional differences? Will there be demographic differences? And I think at the very least we have to know more about it and better understand it before launching ourselves into this change.
This, the more that can be done to increase and encourage access to voting is probably, well, I think is good, and the evidence I've seen presented suggests that vouching will harm that principle.
I'll leave these three to be the experts on vouching, and the previous CEOs. I can only offer my personal experience with my health card.
2 seconds. 1 second. Thank you, Madam Latendresse, for finishing right on time. Mr. Reid, you have 4 minutes to finish us off, please.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Chair, I am anxious indeed that we wrap this meeting up in time, because I'm chairing another meeting in this very room, in that very chair, on the critically important issue of international human rights 9 minutes and 30 seconds from now.
In for you, Mr. Reid.
Thank you. My question, well, I suppose anybody can answer it, but I wanted to direct it to Taylor Gunn. Taylor phoned me, and I suspect some other members of the committee beforehand. We had a good discussion. It was very helpful, so I appreciate that. I also like your multicolored presentation, which is, I'll show this to my webmaster as a thought as to how we could goose up our own presentation. And finally, before I actually ask you a serious question, I can't help but notice in your helpful compendium of participation in different schools that where you've listed off all members of the committee. In my riding, Lanark, Frontenac, Lennox, and Addington in 2011, I won the student vote. 31 schools registered, 2,884 ballots cast, and just for the record, that is more votes cast than in the chair and two vice chairs' ridings put together.
It was too easy in the chair's riding. Yes.
And no one voted.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question relates to the educational role you guys have. One of the problems that I have felt exists, I've felt this for many years, is that there is inadequate education as to how to vote. And I think you and I may disagree a little bit about whether people vote because they are insufficiently motivated versus encountering genuine barriers to voting. But we do know from, just finish my thought and then I'll let you answer, but here, Taylor, here's what I wanted to say. We do know from the CEO's report on lack of youth participation, young voters. Yeah, he divided the young people up into 5 groups. And in 3 of those 5 groups, when they cited reasons why they hadn't participated, 3 of the groups, and I can't remember which of the 3 subcategories it was, but indicated that one of the primary reasons is lack of voter information materials, voter information card, which among other things tells you where to vote. It does serve as a prompt. Many people carry these things into the poll. I do, as actually I did before I was a voter. I get to remember when election day is now, obviously, as a candidate. But before, it was a helpful reminder, oh, here's where the advanced poll is, that kind of thing. Here's when the advanced poll is. They don't get those things. And what I'm getting at is, I think it would be useful if, as part of your education process, because you're actually in the schools for kids when they are too young to vote, but they're at home. Then they move away and they can vote to go to college, but now we've lost track of them. Helping to educate them on how to exercise that franchise a couple of years in the future would be an enormously useful service. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm recommending you do something like that, and I'm just going to ask you to comment on that or general issues with relation to that.
That's a great recommendation. Hopefully other members can agree that it's a great recommendation so that I can incorporate a great recommendation from the committee rather than just one partisan member. I think that the voter information cards are I've always found them to be useful. I think voters actually now have a habit of recognizing and using those, and obviously that should carry on. I think I don't know if this is so relative to the committee, but certain election agencies across the country have attempted to explore whether or not they could share information with their provincial counterparts, say the ministries of education, for example, so that as young people went through school, they were automatically put on the registered voters list. Does that help them if they move away to school and they're sharing a place and only one person has their name on that house's residence? I don't think so in the case of voter information cards. But if it comes to be that this passes, and it is, Section 18 is restricted, we'll focus our information that we provide to schools. Everyone will put more energy into just the when, where, and how to vote. I think the bill's trying to imply that someone shouldn't be trying to tell people why to vote. And I can understand that, but the why comes from the when, where, and how. At least in our program, when you go into a school with your fellow candidates, you're not teaching the why. The kids figure out the why. When they go home and talk to their parents, that's where they learn the why. So I feel that even the previous Section 18 and the current Section 18, they could be interpreted in exactly the same way. It would be great just to have the committee really clarify that, especially around things like civic education and public engagement.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Gunn. To all our witnesses, I can understand, we tend to always go over when witnesses are passionate about what they're here to present to us. So thank you all today for what you've done. I've got just a thank you for coming and sharing with us a couple of pieces of information for all of the committee. If you could please just bear with me for a second. But we do thank our witnesses and excuse them. We talked a bit about amendments that will be needed. We're suggesting Friday, the April 25th at noon, if you're submitting amendments to the clerk. April 25th at noon. Ask me how flexible I'll be on that. Clause by clause will be scheduled to start at our what would have be our regularly scheduled meeting Tuesday, April 29th, the 11 a.m. start? Pardon? Well, I'm suggesting that we'll... Pardon?
That yet. We haven't dealt with the other, to the best of my knowledge, I stand to be corrected, to the best of my knowledge, all we've agreed on so far is next week. We still have further discussions to talk about going forward.
We have a delegation from Scotland with some informal gatherings about electoral reform and other issues they'd like to speak to us about. Monday, April 7th is when they're here. I'm suggesting a half hour in the morning. The vice chairs and myself or the whole committee or whoever would like to. That will, a notice or a letter will come out from me asking for that, please. Pardon me?
That meeting
Yeah,
will
no, be here, it'd be in center block someplace. I would hope, Mr. Lamoureux, with direction from the steering committee, we've started scheduling for next week. We've finished scheduling for next week. We've finished scheduling for the rest. It's not all available because we're still doing some invites. This committee will be working Monday evenings 7 to 11, Tuesday its normal time 11 till 1, Tuesday evening the same time frame 7 to 11, Wednesday evening the same time frame 7 to 11, and its normal meeting time of Thursday 11 till 1. That will happen through all the weeks that we're studying this. I've promised that we would give as much opportunity for every witness asked for to be here and any witness to send briefs and the like. That will accomplish that. We've also set the size down from 4 to a maximum of 3 on groups like we just had to try and make that work a little bit better too. So if you'll give the, as the steering committee did the other day, allowed the chair and the clerk to move forward on that and started that scheduling, and with the competent work of the committee, I'm sure we can accomplish the rest. I would assume then that sometime after 11 on Monday night is when we'll deal with Mr. Christofferson's motion. Sorry, David, that was just a joke. Anything else for the good of the committee today? We are adjourned.